It is Draft to Deadline inside the reporter's notebook. I am Brian, and I'm so glad that you're with me for my next story. This one's really great. I remember when I got the green light for the story, I wrote on my folder, weight loss inspiration. And really, this is Isaac Elizondo's story. He's 33 years old. He's from Clovis, and he's on an incredible weight loss journey. I met Isaac at my gym. We both work out together at Crunch Fitness Shaw. And we met, and he was telling me about his weight loss journey and how he was down almost 100 pounds from 560 pounds. And he's documenting it all on social media on TikTok. So I asked him for his TikTok, looked it over, and said, Isaac, this is really inspirational. I think that this would be a really great inspirational news story. He was all about it and really excited. And what I love about Isaac is we all know him at the gym. He's there 6 days a week. And everybody is so supportive and so willing to help, giving Isaac, tips and some advice on what works well for them when it comes to their diet and our workout plan. I talked to him about being on 75 hard twice and how I lost 30 pounds on paleo and what I liked about it, didn't like about it. And Isaac is so great. He just takes all that information in, and it's really helping him on his own journey. So I want to jump right into the interview so that you can hear from Isaac about why he even decided to finally get up, get moving, and make a real difference in his life. And then the back end of the interview, we'll chat for a second about it. So here's my interview with Isaac Elizondo. When we talk about weight, what was your heaviest point?
So I was pretty bad. I was 560 pounds.
And is that recent? Is that when you decided to make this big change?
Yeah, so I'm day 24 into month number 5. We've been extremely dedicated to this process with a diet and our workout. We come 6 days a week, every week, and we stay true to our diet. But I started 5 months ago, just having serious talks with my family, serious talks with my brothers, and just like where I'm at in life, where do I want to be in the future? Do I even want to be around in the future? Do I even care? Stuff like that. And it really gets to you when your family's trying to tell you, like, we want you around, like, we need you, the kids need you, they depend on you for a lot of responsibilities. And what happens when you're gone? You're their big deal, and they count on you and they love you, and they come over, Dio. What if that's not there anymore? And it really just clicked for me, and it really hurt my heart. And I'm just like, everyone's right. I want the change. They want the change. Everyone, they deserve the change. Like, I shouldn't have to put them through what, just because of my carelessness. It affects them too. They have to watch me go down this road of depression and sadness and anger and not taking care of myself. And just having these talks, and we had a good one with my father one evening, and that very next day, no alcohol, no junk food, no soda, no fast food, no nothing. I immediately tried to start a diet with only salad. So at that time, I wouldn't eat breakfast and I wouldn't eat lunch, and I would only eat salad and chicken breast for dinner. And that's how I started. And then eventually I just was like, just kind of growing confidence, because at my first checkup, I had already lost 15 pounds just by changing what I eat. And that kind of got me really excited. 15 pounds, I'm like, dang, that's a lot. And I'm not doing anything yet. So I started walking just to the corner store in flip-flops, just taking a stroll to the 7-Eleven, getting a Gatorade, walk back home, and eventually, that grew to walking to the grocery store, which ended up being a mile. Then it went to a mile and a half. And then I would do that almost every single night. Excuse me. And then I was building my confidence up, and I was like, hey, brother, I think I'm ready to go to the gym. I think I'm confident. My confidence was already raised so much, and I was starting to get like happy in my production of, it was very little. It was only walking down the street, but I started feeling better. I'm getting out into the public, and I'm, exploring my avenues of trying to change. And I just kind of felt like it just growing in me that I wanted to try harder and just do it. And so I asked my brother, I was like, hey, I'm gonna go to Costco with you and your wife. I got something to ask you. And he's like, what is it? What are you doing? Why are you going to Costco with us? And I'm like, well, I wanted to ask you guys, if you could help me with the gym membership. I'll promise you that I'm here for the long run. I'm going to stay true to what my decision is. I'm about changing, and I'll go every day. You will see that it's going to be worth it, and I promise. And my brother's one of my biggest supporters. He's got my back through thick and thin. He's a very good, godly man. He's a very strong individual, mentally and in his heart. I love him very much, and he's like, yeah, I got you. And so I signed up for the gym that evening, and I went to the gym that evening for the first time. And I was all happy. I even took a picture smiling, and I sent it to him, and that's where it started, and I never looked back. It's been a tremendous journey so far. Start weight, 560 pounds. We're day 24 into month number 5. We're down 100 pounds. Current weight, 460 pounds. And we haven't touched anything. We've stepped away from all temptation. I don't want it in my mind. I don't want it in my heart. And we're just trying to grow and trying to learn. There's so much to learn. I don't claim to know anything.
Isaac, tell me, what does 560 pounds feel like?
It feels like pain. It feels like suffering that you just keep on the inside. Your back hurts, your neck hurts, your knees hurt, your feet hurt. You can't breathe right. You can't sleep right. You can't function in a daily life and do simple things. Getting up and off the couch, getting out of bed, putting shoes on. I would not put shoes on because it would hurt me so much, and I would rather not put shoes on than put myself through that. And I would just wear sandals and look ridiculous at family functions wearing sandals, and everyone's in polos and dress shirts and looking clean cut and everything, and I'm wearing a 7X sweatshirt and gym shorts and sandals because that's the only thing that fits me and that I can feel comfortable wearing, because I don't like what any of my clothes look like. I really don't have a lot of clothes because they don't fit, and it's just so mentally draining and emotionally, and you struggle in every single aspect of your life, and I don't wish that on anybody. I just hope those feelings are gone. I'm a completely different person now. I'm not looking back, and my growth has been phenomenal. Thank you to the whole community and my family for being there, supporting me. And it's just incredible the differences in your life. Now I don't have to think about putting on my shoes. I just do it. It's rain outside. I'm not going to wear my sandals because that's the only option I have. Now I'm going to put my shoes on like a normal person, and I'm going to, casually walk through the rain or whatever, what have you, and just be normal. Whatever normal is to you, but just feel normal and not just feel like an outcast everywhere you go is pretty much it.
That does lead me to my next question, because you're down 100 pounds, which congratulations. I mean,
Thanks, sir.
That's amazing, especially in the time frame that you've been working in. What does 460 pounds feel like to you?
So I never would have thought that I'd be out of the 500s. Never would have thought it. Never thought that I'd be, here at the gym every single day. Never would I thought ever. And just because where my mindset was, and I made the decision in my mind and in my heart that I was going to do it. And, I have my family there, supporting me, asking if I'm going to go to the gym every day. And of course I'm going to say, yeah, as soon as we're done, everyone's fed, I'm going. And so it's just to think about that is phenomenal, and how much, I'm not going to stop. This is a life journey. We have an end goal of a healthy weight that we want to be. We don't want our back to hurt anymore. We don't want our knees to hurt anymore. We don't want our feet to hurt anymore. And, and we want the ability to just buy nicer clothes, and just enjoy the rest of our life and to be a healthy person. But being 460 pounds is incredible. I never would have thought ever. And now we're here, and that's going to go by quickly. We're not stopping. We have lots of things that we want to do, and we're striving for greatness and for progress every single day. And we have a long way to go, and we're going to continue just trotting it on, little step by little step, and do it smart, do it safely, and that's pretty much it.
What does the end result look like for you? What is the ultimate goal here?
To live a long life, be here for the kids, watch them in high school, watch them get married, be here for my parents, support my mother, support my father, be their backbone where they need me at the house, take care of them, take them wherever they need, take the kids wherever they need. If God's willing, my own children, that would be fantastic. Be there for my brothers, I want to be there for the rest of their lives and be there. I'm the big brother, and I haven't necessarily been the one to look up to as a big brother, but, I'm turning myself around, and I do want to be that big brother. I do want to show them that, all your dedication, they're already grown men, and they already know what it takes to be a man. They know what it means to succeed and do your responsibilities. But I want to show them that, we're all in this together, and your oldest brother is doing it too. And if you need help, he has now gone through trials and tribulations and a very difficult journey, and he knows a little something himself now. And, I just want to be, actual good, someone to look up to as a big brother and a big deal. And, my father's son, that's a big deal for us, being sons to my father. He's been through a lot during his life. He's worked hard all his life, and, he's always taught us about loyalty and respect and the grind and consistency and being a professional. And, I used to apply those things to my life before, I went through some of the stuff in my life, and then I kind of fell off track. But now I'm back on track, and I'm applying to all those lessons that we've learned in the past now in my life.
The path that you were on, and at 560 pounds, did you feel like you were going to die from this?
Honestly, it was always in my mind, but to tell you the truth, I just didn't care. It was not oh, whatever, I'm fat. Yeah, I'm the fat guy. Yeah, whatever. Eat whatever I wanted, drink whatever I wanted, not, have no motivation to do anything and just not care. And when I look at pictures of back then and I see videos, if anybody has a niece that's little and they start to know what phones about, I have 100 videos on my phone of her just like, and she, and to see myself and how I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just, it makes me angry and it makes me happy, that I'm not that person anymore. But I'm like, what was I thinking? I'm so glad that I'm not that person anymore, and that's left in the past, and it'll never be again. And I'm just, I'm just truly happy that I've made this choice.
Mm-hmm. Is this something you've always struggled with? You had mentioned that you played basketball and football. Were you in shape then? Were you a bigger guy as a kid?
So I've always been big. The name Gibby of my following, my brothers gave me that when I was little. It actually came from a TV show from when we were little. It was a little fat kid in a TV show, and his name was Gibby, and he would do funny, chubby guy stuff. And I was always the biggest of my cousins, always the tallest, always the heaviest, and they gave me that name, and I hated it as a child. And as soon as I got into an adult, it's kind of like, yeah, that's Gibby, and I kind of I accept it, and it's my nickname, and I like it now. I just kind of grew from there. And so now when I meet strangers too, they're like, oh yeah, that's Gibby, that's Big Gibby. And I'm like, yeah, my name's Isaac, but yeah, you can call me Gibby. Everyone calls me Gibby, it's cool.
At what age though did you feel like this was kind of getting out of control?
Probably, I'm going to tell you the truth, probably when I was in 5th grade. I was 520, I'm not 500 anymore. I was 120 pounds, and I was just a little kid, I was in football. My parents, they let us, play football and stuff, Pop Warner, things like that. And, I wasn't so tall back then. I was kind of the shorter guy, and I was fat. And I was, I'd stick out. I had to wear eventually from my Pee Wee team, I had to get moved up to the next age group because I was bigger and I was the smallest guy on the team, but my weight and it was allowed me to play in that league because I was too heavy for kids my age. And that's when it like really started. Then I knew I was like, my mom would always say, "Oh, you're just big boned." I don't believe in that anymore. She was being incredibly nice and everything, but that's when it started, and then it just kind of grew. And even though I was in sports, I stayed big. And then all the way throughout to high school, I grew a little bit taller, but I was still kind of big. And then 18, graduate high school. I was still, about 220 pounds around there. Age 21, me and my brother, we joined the Forest Service to try and follow my father's footsteps. And, that turned around. I started losing weight. I started getting stronger. But I was like maybe 245 to 250 pounds. But I was like really healthy. We were hiking for 10 hours a day. And I prided myself in beating everybody and showing like what I could do as an individual and try and, prove to my father, like, I'm going to do this like you did it. And, that's what I wanted as a young man. And, that was in that career, in that process that I was only in for a short time. That was when I tore my ACL for the second time, just in the middle of the woods, had to hike myself out of there. My teammate was only a 125 pound, 4'5" female, good person, good friend from back in the day. And, she's not I'm 5'10", you're not gonna do anything. Just go get the radio and tell them, we messed up and I'm going to get myself out of here and we'll go from there. And unfortunately, that made the agency make decisions that, it's probably not safe for me to be out there anymore. And I was still under contract. And so I was forced into an office job, which depressed me a lot. And then office people, office surroundings, fast food. Right there out the door, everyone's ordering food. You want something? You want Starbucks? You want ice cream? We're going to get frozen yogurt, and it's just like every single day that happens, and I'm just sitting at a computer. This is not what I like to do. I hated it for a year and a half that I had to be there, and I couldn't leave because I was under contract, or otherwise it would be like I was quitting. And at that time in my life, quitting was not something that we did. My father didn't teach us how to quit. You just don't do that.
It sounds like that conversation with your dad was kind of the turning point, but I want to make sure that I'm really clear and make sure our viewers really understand. What was that moment for you where you said, I'm doing this?
It was just clear as day. I went to bed thinking, everyone's asleep and I'm just in my room thinking like I'm done with this. It's over. I don't want it anymore. And then it just was like, just do it. Just do it, and I did, and I just kept that same mindset of just doing it. It's gonna be very hard. It's gonna be very hard. I've never done anything like this before at this size of my life, and it's gonna be very hard, and you're gonna want to quit. But that was just not in my heart. I can't give up this time. I can't let myself, go a different. I can't, and I won't. And I've succeeded in staying true to my choice, and we're just gonna stay the course. And I'm truly grateful that I made that decision.
Do you remember the date?
It was the beginning of July. I'm trying to go through my stuff and look at the day, so that I can have a proper timeline of my journey. But I'm still trying to work on that. But it was in July this year.
What's working well for you?
Like exercise-wise?
Yeah,
or?
like what, because I know that's, when I lost my weight, the number one question I get, how'd you do it? How'd you do it? Like there's some secret, right?
Yeah.
And I want your opinion on Ozempic and those that are kind of turning in that direction, but I'm sure you're getting that too. You've lost 100 pounds. People have got to be asking you, how are you doing it?
Yeah,
I'm just curious, what's working well for you?
So mainly the start was the no alcohol, no junk food, no bad foods, and just staying true to that for the whole 5 months and not teetering away in any kind of way. And then my first option, my mother had a gastric bypass and got her stomach, taken care of, and she lost tremendous amount of weight, when I was younger. And so she's been begging me to get that procedure done for as long as I can remember. She's like, you keep trying to work out, you trying diets, or you're gonna lose your chance to do this, insurance and whatever. And that was like when I was 25, still under my parents' insurance. Like, get it done while you can. And then that time passed, and she's like, you got your own insurance now. You get it done, you still haven't called the doctor. She would get mad at me all the time. Why haven't you called the doctor? I'm like, because I don't want that. And I was making bad choices. I'm sure it could have been a good choice for me, but I've already been through enough surgeries, and that's a thing. I do not want to have surgery again. It's just, my heart rate would go through the roof every time I would be about to be going under the knife, and I would just like regret, not regret, but I would be like, I don't want to be here. I know it's going to help me, but I do not want to be here. I don't know what's happening when I'm under. And then you wake up and you're just like in enormous amounts of pain, and now you have to go through recovery again. And so with the changes in California and Gavin Newsom, making his own changes to California, I am on Zeppo bound, but that's going to be taken away, and just because of my insurance. But the science to these things is it doesn't make you lose weight. You can't just take it and think that I'm going to lose weight now. No. When, the conversation we had earlier about your brain and the way your body depends on all this stuff, it turns off those receivers, and you actually have to put forth yourself to do it. But it's only like a very little milligrams of whatever you're putting in there. And you have to really, 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 really try. And the progress that I've made is because of my 6 days in the gym, because of my diet that I've chosen, because of what I don't eat and what I choose not to consume. And my mental has helped me like so much with that. But I'm not going to worry about not having that anymore because I've already changed my life. I don't need, not that that's like a main part of anything, but I don't have to worry about having to have stomach surgery to change my diet. I don't have to worry about making drastic changes in my life because I already did it. I already did it on my own. I don't have a dietitian. I don't have a fitness coach. Everything that I've done, I've developed on my own, and it's got me to where I am.
Mm-hmm. I know your family, you talked a lot the night that we met today, off camera, about your family. I see your cross. I'm curious if there's a faith component to this journey for you as well.
So I've always been in faith, but I've never ever done anything with it. And I pray, when you're like, please let me get this job, and that kind of nonsense. But now, I have a Bible verse on my cross. It's Isaiah 41:10, and basically it just says that, don't be dismayed, don't be discouraged, don't feel like you're gonna want to quit. God's gonna be there with you. He's got your back. You don't feel strong enough and you don't have the courage. So God is strong enough and He has the courage, and He's going to be right there with you every step of the way so that you can accomplish, whatever is in front of you. So every time I feel like I don't want to go to the gym, or I'm dead tired and I don't want to continue, and I keep this in front of me, so I'm just like, yes you can, yes you can, yes you can, and yes you will. And that's I'm glad I bought this because it's just another thing that I hold dear that's gonna keep me true.
Mm-hmm. When you're coming to the gym, what are your favorite things to do here?
I very much enjoy my cardio stuff that I do. It takes me about an hour to complete it. Just the fact that I have no set workout anything. I pick the stuff that I like and I throw them all together. It doesn't make sense. They work out different parts of the body. It's not like, oh, it's leg day. No, I'm going to do legs, back, arms, and throw it all into one little thing. And so I usually do a circuit, and I'll pick 5 exercises of what I like, and try and keep my heart rate up and maximize the amount of effort and work that I have to do in a short amount of time, and just go boom, 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 and do that 4 times depending on whatever it is. And it gets really tired, really hard working. That's probably my favorite thing to do. Not like banging big weight on the free weights, or, that is cool, but that's not like I like pushing myself to a limit and seeing if I can get past that limit on simple stuff that is really tiring and exhausting for a big person. And you just, that sense of accomplishment that you're like, dang, I'm just doing all this hard stuff, and like, you feel pretty great when you've accomplished those. And then when you leave, you're like, yes, man, I'm going to come back and do it again tomorrow.
We met last week, and I got to be honest, I got to my car and I just was so emotional about our meeting. And it wasn't just the two of us meeting, but it was the support of everybody in that room. We were in the sauna.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts?
So when I first started, I'm still like the biggest guy at this gym. People would just kind of stare at me and they're like, what, dang, that guy, whatever, he's big. And nobody would talk to me. And I just, I didn't let that get to me. I already have my confidence. I already know what kind of person I am. I'm a really good people person. I'm a good talker. I'm very inviting when someone wants to come, and I'm like, yeah, man, whatever, it may be. And people started seeing that I'm coming every day. They see me every day. And it's the same individuals. I seen this saying, it's like, I know he's going to be there at this time and this time every single day. And he knows I'm going to be there at the same time at this day and every single day. So I think that's funny, and people started to notice that I was serious about this. And so gradually over this last half month, it's like every time I come, people see me trying really hard, and it makes them want to come and involve themselves and introduce themselves, give their opinion, give their help on what I could do better in my diet, in my exercise, in my life, whatever it may be. And you have to be open-minded. You can't be a part of this and be closed-minded, because then you're not going to learn anything. I mean, yeah, you are by yourself and reading books and this, not, but it's like my brother. He is full of so much knowledge in this kind of area, and I love when I get to talk to him and he shares his knowledge, because he got cut down and did a physique competition, and he was just absolutely shredded. I could never dream about doing the dedication that it would take for him to stay true to his diet, lose every bit of your body fat to where you see every muscle fiber in your body, and do a show. That's the dedication for all the people that do that. My hat's tipped to you guys. That's just insane. And just like, yeah, so basically the community, and yeah, you go into the sauna and you're just like, hey, what's up, bro? How was your workout? And that's just how it goes.
That was the part that made me emotional, was not one person in that room wasn't supportive of you, wasn't offering advice. Everybody was like railing around you. Everybody was like, giving you diet information, giving you, here's what you should be doing at the gym. Like, everybody wanted to be part of it. I think that's the part that made me emotional and really excited for you, was like, every single person is rooting for you and wants this so badly for you too. And that's got to feel good.
Yeah,
especially in an environment
every day
like this, because it can be intimidating joining a gym.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, being nervous is always a big thing, but then my confidence was there, and I was like, I don't care. I'm here for myself, and I'm gonna try as hard as I can for myself. And it's like I said, we're 100 pounds down, and I'm sure we're gonna change what we're doing and try to be smarter about our workouts, smarter about our diet, our intake on less calories, more proteins, less fats, less sodium, more nutrition, nutrients and whatnot. I don't take any supplements right now, but I do need some, like protein for to add for the recovery and growth of my body, because right now I'm technically starving myself, and my body's taking all this extra away, but it's not that extra I need to grow is not getting inputted into my body yet. So that is the area that I need most help with, is the diet part, because I don't know anything about the diet. I'm barely starting to measure out my macros in my food, and I'm still learning how to do that and try and document what I eat every day and see what I'm eating. And then at the end of the day, you're like, wow, I really only ate just over 1,000 calories today, when someone who's doing what I'm doing should be eating around 3,500. and loads of protein and loads of carbs. And it's still trying to wrap my mind around that area, because I'm like, I'm losing so much weight, I should be eating less. But you're working so hard, you need to be eating more. So it's just the science, the math, and the whole everything about a diet is just, I'm still learning, and we're just getting started with paying attention to that. But we're gonna learn. And
talk to me about this. Because this came along after, right? I mean, you started 5 months in. This is not 5 months.
This
worth
is
of
1
content.
month old.
What motivated you to decide, hey, I want to fire up a TikTok and I want to document this journey? Is that to hold you accountable? Is that to inspire other people, or both?
So I thought that I had something to say. I've been through some trials and tribulations with my knee surgeries, and my depression and my anger, and temptation with alcohol and eating bad food. And I'm like, I think people might like this. I work really hard. I enjoy the videos that I watch of people my size doing tremendous things online. And, I could do something like that. I work very hard. I think, people might enjoy this. Never have I ever posted anything. Never had the courage to, never thought that it would be something that people would like. Never. Had all the apps, would watch them on a daily basis, sports, cooking videos, whatever. But nothing of myself, never of anything of my own product. And I just decided one day, and I even said, I'm new to this, I'm a beginner, and I'm stuttering, and I'm like, oh, gotta redo it, dang it, I look silly. And gradually, I just started filming my workouts and things that I like to do. And people would show tremendous love in the comments and support right off of the bat. Big people starting to chime in who have tried and need help motivating, and they ask me all the time, can you help me with motivation? I'm still working on my own motivation, but the only thing that I could just tell them is just make the choice first in your heart and in your mind, and just go for it. You never know what's going to happen. I didn't know what was going to happen. I still don't know what's going to happen. But make the choice as an individual to better your life and become a better person, and just try it. You never know.
And how are you using your TikTok? Are you recording and then posting? I know you're doing lives as well. Are you doing live workouts? Talk to me a little bit about how you're using your content.
So if I see a workout that I think is really difficult and I know it's very challenging for me, I'm like, this is really hard. Let me post it. I think it'll be cool. And I'll just put a little video on there. And then one time I was just like, people videotape themselves doing live all the time, do their workouts. Let me try it real quick. Let me just try it. And I tried it, and people ask, they're in the comments, and you just read it, and they ask you about what you're doing, how you got there, what it takes, for someone like me who's big to do what you're doing. And it gets you involved, and you're like, oh wow. Now you start answering questions from people who are, who want help or need help or who can help you, and they give you like their opinion on everything, and it gets you involved in the video while you're working out, and you get sidetracked. So like I went from one time I was only gonna do 10 minutes on the treadmill, and then I was like, wow, I'm like going 20 minutes already. This is cool. Well, I think we should go do something else now. But and you lose track, and you're focused. It becomes a second thing. You're just working out, and you already know how to do that. Now you're also trying to engage in whatever is coming along through the comments, and trying to just be thankful. I always tell them, thank you for supporting. You guys make me want to work harder, work longer, and all your support just helps.
That's another form of accountability, right? Because you've got
Absolutely.
yourself, I know, that's really strong. I can sense it.
Yeah, because, they're along for the journey too, and they're watching the process. And, there's some people that come through on a daily basis, and they tell me how I am. They're thankful that I'm here. They're happy for me. They ask me what's on the agenda, what's it looking like, how's the week gone at the gym? Am I changing my diet? How, you said you're, work on your, what's going on? So, and that's on a daily basis, and it truly does help. And then the influencers in the fitness world, they end up finding you. And I've met loads of friends that I talk to on a daily basis, and they're just like, yeah, we're here for you. If you ever need any help on your diet, you ever need any help on workouts, or you just want to come and chat with us about what you're going through, and that's there on a daily basis. They're gonna talk to me here, after we're done today, and they're gonna, ask me how I feel, and if I'm gonna go to the gym later today, or just be involved in my life now. As friends, it is through social media, but I see them every day. They're involved in my story, and I'm getting involved in their stories, and we just, we have each other's backs, and we keep each other accountable, and we're just there for each other pretty much on there.
I'd be remiss not to mention that it's the holiday season. It's Fresno winter. I'm from Michigan, so y'all do it differently here. It doesn't get as cold, but it definitely gets kind of cozy, and you want all that comfort food this time of year. What is your message to those that are watching that are you, and it's their July? They're sitting there thinking like, man, I need to do something. I need to make that change. I need that first step, how you felt when you started this journey in July. To that person that's watching right now that, just has 20, 30 pounds to lose or has 400 pounds to lose, what do you want them to hear out of this story?
Take your chance. You never know what's going to happen. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself fully. If you're not committed, that's not, you have to be committed, and you have to believe in the choice that you've made, and you have to really want it. If you go in halfway, you're not going to fully do it. You're not going to care. You're not going to fully be invested in the process. So you really have to think about, like, is this what I want to do? And put yourself to do it. Your confidence is probably not going to be there at all. And you're not going to do anything right off the bat. And just try. Like, you never know what's going to happen. And make sure you have a good support system, because that is everything. Mm-hmm. If you go into this by yourself, like, all power to you, but I'm sure, any individual that does this by themselves, I'm sure they struggle very hard because they have no one to talk to. They might be struggling really bad with their diet and they have nobody to talk to or something. So, communication is key in every aspect of life. And having your support system, my brothers and my father, is everything to help me keep going, and knowing that, if I'm having a problem or an issue and I'm struggling, that, I can go and ask them for help, and what I can do to, like, try and, I want to continue, but I'm struggling. And it's just like any other addiction. You want to have that support group. You want to have. That's why there are meetings. That's why there are public meetings and face to face. And so that part is so very important. Yeah, not to do it alone. So it sounds like step one is making the decision just to do it. Making the decision.
Step two is to quickly find that support group.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, I started out just walking down the street, and then gradually I grew myself to be confident enough to get a gym membership. And now, the rest is history, is what they say. But we're here for the long run, and you never know how long your journeys can be. For me, my decision is lifelong. It's never going to end, but we do have where we want to be at in life. Be healthy again. We don't want any more pain in our body. We want to be around for the family for as long as we possibly can, because we're taking care of ourselves. It's no longer out of our hands, and we're not being careless anymore. And we care about every aspect of our life now, and we're trying to the fullest to make sure that we're growing as an individual and we stay true to our choice.
This is a great conversation. We are rooting for you. We know you're going to do it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I just love his heart. And you could just tell, he doesn't want to do this to be a fitness model in the end. He just wants to do this for his family and for his nieces and nephews, and just to be alive for as long as he can be. And, I just think, I don't know. I just take so much away from that. It's so funny because I look at somebody like Isaac and I just think, like, man, I don't want to skip a gym day now. It's just incredible to see the work that he's putting in and the reason why he's doing it. And I can't wait to follow up with him. I promised him a year from now, we're going to connect right before next Thanksgiving with him and a dietitian that he is connected with. Her name is Rachel, and just see where he is on this journey. I mean, already 100 pounds down, and he knows he's got a lot more to go. But man, I tell you what, if anybody can do it, it's going to be Isaac. So I'll keep you posted on Isaac. 26 journey, and you can also follow along on his TikTok. Let me pull that up for you real quick because I know that there's such a community of support there for him, and just so many folks that are just really, really excited to cheer him on and watch his videos. On TikTok, he is Gibby Elizondo. It is Gibby Elizondo. Let me see if I can hold that up for you guys too to see. It might be too bright in here. Oh, I think it'll adjust to the lighting. There you go. There's Gibby. He talks too in that interview about how he ended up with that nickname. But man, and this one too, he's got to update it because it says 560 pounds, current weight 469, but he's down already now 9 more pounds from that. So that's just absolutely incredible. All right, that is the latest edition of Draft to Deadline Inside the Reporter's Notebook. I cannot wait to share with you my next story coming up next month. This one's a really tough one, by the way, as we talk about those who have lost loved ones to alleged drunk drivers. And so that's coming up for the month of December. Hope that you guys all had a great Thanksgiving. This will air after the holiday. So I hope your Thanksgiving was great. Hope you have the best Christmas coming up. And I'll catch you back here for Draft to Deadline Inside the Reporter's Notebook as we talk about that tough piece here coming up in just a few weeks.